Hi and welcome to Knit All the Things. My name is Laurel. I'm also known as West Maven on Instagram, Ravelry, and here. If you're new, this is a space where I talk about all the things I'm knitting, all the things I want to knit, all things yarn, just all the things. And if you're returning, welcome back, Knitting Bestie. I can't wait to catch up with you. In today's episode, we are going to talk about a variety of knitted projects. I have a dog sweater to talk about. I have some stockings as well as a stuffed animal and some accessories. I am really excited to share with you some updates on my cardigan, and let's talk about some patterns that'll hopefully inspire both of us for future cast-ons. So grab your knitting, get cozy, and let's go. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what I am wearing. Today I am wearing the Ferda Genser. This is a pattern by Heidi and Anna Pickles, and I've made a lot of podcasts about this, so I will kind of just give you a brief run through. However, I do realize a lot of you are newer to my channel, and so if you are curious, I will also link those episodes below. So this is a sweater that I used I think it was my 2021 advent calendar for. This was a calendar by Sweet Nestings, and I chose their fingering weight advent. I will say with that advent in particular, there isn't like numbered days. So if you are opening them, there isn't necessarily a rhyme or reason. However, it has a really great color story. And I did not use any like additional yarn. I only used my advent. This color right here was the full skein that came with the advent. So let me stand up and show you. So this is a raglan sweater, and it is all over color work. You start at the top of the sweater. You do some short rows in the back and then start in on the color work. And I have mixed feelings on this. I will say by far, this is one of my more like quote unquote impressive looking knits, but it is not my favorite fitting knit. So I probably should have left one pattern repeat out and started the body because it has a little bit of a longer yoke than I think is that flattering on me. The only other way I could have saved this, and I again don't think it's terrible, but I think a way that I could have done it a little bit differently is even if I left the yoke the same, I should have made the body a little bit wider so that it kind of fit that look, if you will, because I feel like it is supposed to be a little bit on the fitted side. And while it's not terrible, I definitely, like, I would have probably stopped the yoke here. So just like a repeat, not terribly too much, but I think it would have just made all the difference. Or again, adding a little bit more to the body so that it just had a more boxier look, if you will. I did not run out of any of my yarns, and I used all of them twice. So I started up here with the red, and then I did like a red and pinkish orange, and then kind of faded down. Here's my halfway point. And then just to keep it a little bit interesting, I switched up, instead of mirroring exactly the same pairs that I had put together at the top, I did not completely do them the same. I'm trying to think. So for example, this row had a yellow and then this kind of lavender color, light lavender. And I did a white and a light lavender, and then I did pink and yellow, and then the other yellow came down here. So I didn't do it exactly the same. I also tried to pick some rows where I wanted the diamonds to kind of pop a little bit more, and other rows where it was supposed to look more like triangles, to kind of give it just a little bit different look. The original pattern is written for 4 colors, and they sell kits at, I think, Anna and Heidi Pickles or pickles.com. And let me tell you some of the negatives. So if you've done a pattern, if you've knit a raglan sweater before and you're an intermediate knitter, you could probably knit this pattern. But because it is a Scandinavian pattern, it doesn't have in detail hand holding. You basically get the chart for the triangles, and it tells you how to do your increases, but that's it on the yoke. And then it's basically like, okay, in the body, just do it in the round. Like, it's not a very handholdy pattern as a lot of us are used to. So from that standpoint, I would say it's a difficult pattern. I will also say that I've had a couple of people reach out that were going to cast this on and didn't have the easiest time with it because it does a couple of things that are a little bit, I guess, unusual than we would normally see, like a petite knit pattern or anything like that. So one of the kind of unusual items, but I'm going to tell you how to fix, like how to make it maybe how you're used to seeing, is there's only one raglan stitch and then you're doing your increases off of it. And that's totally fine, but it has you basically mark the stitch, which I think can be confusing. I can understand. I was a little confused at first. So instead what I did was I just put a marker on either side of that stitch just to remind me that, again, that was the raglan stitch, and then I was doing my increases on either side. It's like little things like that, which are not a big deal. You totally can do it, but it's those little kind of things that you're having to think through a little bit more than maybe you're used to. What else? I did tubular Italian bind-offs on the sleeves and on the hem. And the hem, I debated. I kind of wished it was longer, like this length. However, the sweater was already too long. Like, I didn't need a longer sweater, so I had to just do a short little band. I really, really wanted the full color repeat twice, so I had to figure out how I was going to do that and make it still look nice. And basically I just had to do a very short ribbing. I think I did like an inch, maybe 7/8. So there's that. What else can I say? When I first decided I was going to use an advent, how I kind of went about it, each colorwork row or each colorwork section is a triangle pointing up and a triangle pointing down. And so I paired each of my yarn, like my 24 yarns, I paired each together, and I took pictures of each pair that I was planning on pairing together so that when they got tossed in the bag, I could try and find that. And I'm really glad that I did for a couple of reasons. Some of these pinks look very similar in the ball. And so that was a little challenging when I was trying to go through and find, like, this one's pink with an orange speck. And then this one's pink with a rainbow. This one's also pink with a rainbow, but it's a lighter pink. It's very, like, subtle differences. And so it worked out that I kind of planned it the way I did and took pictures so that I could go back and reference, what I had planned and intended on. And I was at one point a little nervous that would I have enough yarn for the sleeves, repeating everything, 2 times for the body and 2 times for the sleeves. And that was fine. I will say the only thing, so I also real quickly knit a size 3. And so if you were knitting a larger size, I did have more yarn left over. I don't know how many sizes up you could go without running out of yarn or needing to add an extra color. You also might want to consider, this is not a size inclusive pattern. However, on Ravelry, I think someone reached out to Anna and Heidi and said, hey, I wish I could make this in my size and it doesn't go up to my size. And they said, please email us and we'll figure out the math for you. And of course it won't be tested, but at least that will kind of get you started if you were interested in that. So I thought that was nice of them. But yeah, so I enjoyed it. It was challenging at times. There was a few times that I wanted to just forget it. When I got to the end of the body is when I kind of discovered this situation because I had blocked the sweater and I was kind of like, ugh, I don't know how I feel about this. It's okay. This is like what I consider to be a Christmas sweater, even though it's not red and green, but it's so bright for myself that I don't really wear it any other time. It's fine. It's not my favorite. I feel bad saying that because each sweater I feel like is like your kid. You spend all the time making it and like working on it, and I want to like love each one. And of course you love your kids, but I'm not in love with the sweater. I like it. I think it looks nice, but I'm not in love with it. And so I don't gravitate towards it that often. It doesn't get a lot of wear, but there you go. And if you were interested in an advent from Sweet Nestings, I don't think she has any left for the year. You're more like, reach out to her on Instagram. But if you follow her on Instagram for the following year, she does post on her Instagram when she's going to do advents so that you can order them from her. So there's that. So yeah, that's all I have to say. The Ferda Genser by Anna and Heidi Pickles using Sweet Nestings Advent. It's not bad. It's just, it's not my favorite. Okay, where do we begin? I think what we're gonna do first, just in case he gets tired of talking to us, my little co-host, Danzig, I made him a sweater, and I made him a, he was sleeping, sorry. I'm sorry, buddy. I made him a scrappy dog sweater. This is the Lucky Dog sweater by Soleil Salvo. And I used, it's a DK weight sweater pattern. You can purchase it on Ravelry or on pearlsoho.com. And I used leftover scraps from Hue Loco and Spun Right Round. And this green, you might notice, was in my kid's sweater along with this purple. And then this yellow down here and orange stripes were also in that sweater. I'm gonna try and pick him up and hopefully he's patient with us. But I basically decided, hey buddy, to kind of do some stripes to get my colors to fade in the way that I wanted. So this is one color. Then I added a I know. So this is a peach color that I think might be Kindred Red. And then there's like an orange stripe, a couple orange stripes, a yellow stripe. I did some yellow striping up here into the green to kind of pull the color through. And then I did a lime green stripe and then a bright blue stripe. And then I didn't really have a blue speckle that I actually didn't remember. I could have used this, but I forgot. So I didn't have a blue speckle at the time. And so I just held a fingering and a sock yarn that was mostly white with speckles that kind of gave it that nice marl. And then I had, I think this might be Chelsea Luxe blue. And then this is a sock yarn I held double, and that one is House of a la Mode. And then this purple is Spun Right Round Pop. So he got this cute little sweater. The one modification I did, and then I'll put him down, is I did not do sleeves on the sweater, so you could add a sleeve here. And I did not do a sleeve. But I looked through a lot of sweater patterns. I looked through a lot of sweater patterns and I landed on this one because I loved the ribbing on the chest. I think it gives a really nice fit for a dog because you don't always have, like, I feel like this chest area varies quite a bit in animals. And so it really fit him well. He is a very, I guess, has quite, whoop, sorry, buddy. He has quite a bigger chest than like his backside. And so this was a good size. I knit the second size, and I believe the second size goes to up to 18 inches chest circumference. And I chose that one. I think he's like 18 and a quarter, but you want a little bit of negative ease in there to like make it not too big on them. You want a little negative ease in the sweater so that it's not too big on them. And he seems to be happy, although he doesn't look very happy right now with it. He has a couple of other sweaters, but I think this one actually is the best fitting. And this is the only one I've ever made for him. So I do think I will make him a couple more. He gets very cold. He's like my cold baby. He is a Yorkie Poodle mix, and he's my dog that will sit in like a little sunspot, and he's always kind of cold. If he gets a haircut, then he's on the like chillier side. He also, poor little guy, he's about 15 pounds, and which is on the kind of the high, like the vet said, don't let him get any bigger, but 15's good. But when his hair grows out, he gets really fluffy looking, like wider. And this poor guy, I'm like, well, you probably should go on a diet. You don't need as many treats. And it's just because his hair gets so fluffy. So, feel a little bit bad about that. But he just got a haircut a little while ago. And he's been like cold, wanting to burrow in stuff. So, I thought he needed a sweater, and I just am really happy with how it turned out. I really like the fade. To knit this sweater, you start at the back of the sweater, you knit it flat for a while, then you join in the round and have the ribbing in the front, and then do some short rows shaping for the back body, and then you finish off with a ribbed neckline. And then, of course, you could pick up and knit sleeves for the front. Part of the reason I also didn't do that, because it's a fade, I wasn't really sure what color I would pick, and I didn't want it to look weird and all these things. So I didn't do it. His little brother is so fluffy. He's only, I think he's almost 6 pounds, but he won't really get any bigger. But he's so fluffy and gets hot very easily. Like if he's laying on me, that I don't think he's gonna get a sweater. I think he will, but you never know. Maybe I'll make him one just for like outdoor excursions if it ever snows. It may not snow. I'm in Portland, by the way, and we don't always get snow in Portland, Oregon for the winter in the city, but you never know. Sometimes we do, and sometimes it's here for a long time. Sometimes not at all. Okay, so that was the Lucky Dog sweater by Sole Salvo. It can be found on Ravelry and on pearlsoho.com. I highly recommend it. It was very fast to knit. His size only took me, I think, 2 days, and it was really fun. I think doing a fade makes it super fun, or if you did stripes, it would make it really fun to do. So that kind of also egged me on, you know, getting it done. And yeah, I will say also the ribbing they have you do, it feels like a tall ribbing for like the neckband, but just trust the pattern because it turned out perfectly. And had I stopped where I was thinking, it wouldn't look as nice. So that's all I can say about that. I do think it would be really cute to do a colorwork motif right on the butt, and maybe that will be a future thing that I do. I also think if you go on Ravelry, there's several cats that have this pattern. So if you want to knit something for your cats or larger dogs, there's definitely a lot of size range there for you to pick. I guess it's a somewhat size inclusive dog pattern. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if you could make one for a super large dog. I'm not sure how big it goes up to. Okay, next up we have the, let's do this. So last week, or a couple weeks ago, I was working on stockings for my kids, and I finished them. And I didn't do them exactly the same. I did add their names up here. And then I used an I-cord, we'll talk about it in a minute, but I used the I-cord maker to make these cute little things. So I used the pattern Holiday Doodle Stocking, and that's by Jamie Lomax. And then I used Cascade 220 for the main color in their cream, and I'll put the number of, because it's I think a numbered color situation, in the description box. And then I used Plymouth Yarn Superwash Merino in the color Red, Wine, Pine, and Sunflower. And I really like how they turned out. I didn't do them the same because I didn't want to do them exactly matching. I did do some motifs the same. I did the gifts. I did a little bit different, but they each have like the gift boxes at the bottom. And then they each have a stripe that has these like Christmas light motif. This is a little bit different, the snowflake. I think they both have this candy cane, just in different spots. And then they each have the like Santa hat on each one, though different. So I don't think anything is the same. Their names were not the same, like the same colors. I did different colors. They each have a Christmas tree motif, but they're different and the same. And I like them both for different reasons. To do the I-cord, I used my, why can't I think, Cordsmith tool. Almost couldn't think of the name for a second. And this is just the regular size, and this is worsted yarn, so it worked just great. And I attached it by doing a little bit longer I-cord and then attaching it along the ribbing. On either side, I tacked it down just to make sure that it's nice and secure, and I really am happy with how that turned out. So those are done. I will share with you, because I have mantle that isn't like flat on the edge, it's rounded, and so I was having a hard time finding the standard stocking holders don't work because it doesn't sit far enough out without falling over. And so I found these on westelm.com, and there's a rhino, and these are so heavy, and a reindeer. They're like weapon heavy. So if you have kids that will yank on the stockings, I wouldn't really suggest this or an animal, because they are so heavy that someone is going to like get fatally injured. But I did really like them, and as long as you're careful, they're great. So I thought I would share those because sometimes finding stuff like that can be difficult, and yeah, I'm really happy with them. They're like solid brass. So that's the Holiday Doodle Stocking by Jamie Lomax. Okay, next up we have Frog. This is a pattern, Frog and Cast. So this is Frog from the pattern Frog and Cast, and this is by Christina Ingrid McGowan. And I had made Frog before, but he was naked for a very long time. And so I finally finished his clothes. I did order a kit from kelsongoods.com, I believe. They have a kit for Frog. I messaged them because I didn't want the yarn for the clothing because I had yarn that I thought would work well at home. So I do think that's something you can do. So they just sent me the body color for Frog and Toad. I used Amble by the Fiber Co. for his jacket, and then I used Linen Quill for his pants because I think it's like called Stone Gray. And I have no idea why it took me so long to make the clothes, because it didn't take that long. In my head, I had thought that Frog was gonna like fly off the needles, and it took a little bit longer and was a little more finicky than I had anticipated. And so I think when I was done with him, I was like, oh, I don't want to cast on anything else right now. But it actually didn't take that long. The Amble yarn that I used is an alternative sock yarn. So if you want a sock yarn, but you do not want superwash, this is perfect. It's an easy wash yarn, and they use, I don't know if it's merino, but they use a wool and an alpaca blend, and it's very strong. I blocked this, and it has like such a nice little fuzz to it, and it really is a beautiful yarn. It's kind of heathered. They come in, this was a mini, so I think some stores carry the minis of the Amble. They also sell it in 100-gram skeins, and I would definitely make a sweater out of this. It's a really, really nice yarn. It's very, like, it bloomed quite a bit, and it really just is a lovely hand fill. I really enjoyed knitting with it. It was a surprise. Sometimes you'll have in your mind what something's going to be like when you knit it, and then you have a different experience. And this one, I really had such a pleasant experience with it. It's not a terribly expensive yarn. It's not like on the cheap end, but it's probably a mid-price yarn. And I think for the mini was like $6 or $7, but it was probably purchased quite a while ago. And I know that, I think they sell them, well, I don't know for sure. I was going to say, I think they sell bundles of them sometimes, but I could be thinking of a different brand. So let's ignore that part. But he's really cute. So I finished him. I have Toad wound up and ready to go, but he is not cast on yet. This is the color for Toad. And again, this is from Kelsong Goods, and they just have such they make kits for the Frog and Toad because they are just like the perfect colors of them. And it's really just a beautiful yarn. And the way they package it is really, really cute. they kind of put like the yarn is made for and your name, and it's just a very cute, like, it would be a nice gift if you have a knitting friend that might like this kit. I think it would be a fun one. The pattern is on, I would say, I guess everything's relative, right? You get 2 frogs and their clothes. So you get a jacket, a pants, and then for Toad, he gets his like famous swimsuit. And so that whole thing I think is $15 US, which is what it is. I have no, like, it's well written. There is diagrams, there's pictures to follow. So it's a very, very in-depth pattern and definitely well worth it, but just something to keep in mind. So there's my frog. He has clothes on finally. He's no longer naked. I don't know if he'll sit in there or not. Maybe. Let's not touch him. I also think it would be really cute if you have little kids to knit a frog and toad and give the book. I always like to do things that's like a kind of a well-rounded gift, if you will, and I think that would make it really nice. So I do also want to share with you, I have a couple of fillers. I put this in Toad. Now, if you are going to gift it to a kid, this is not recommended. And the reason being is that it's tiny little pieces and they could easily come out of the frog. So you probably don't want to put this in a little kids and give it to them. But this is a lavender scented ground nuts, and it's ground walnuts and lavender. And it's really nice and it has a nice smell to it. Again, depending upon the person you're gifting it to or if you're keeping it, I really like this a lot. Gives them a little bit more weight. And then the other item that I use to fill these is, I think it's, I'm gonna say this wrong, but I'll put it on the screen. I wanna say it's like a tonka or tonka something, but it's like a cotton. It's an organic material and it's just basically like a cotton. It is very messy. So I will say that you want a nice little space of where you can like vacuum when you're done, because this seems to send like little things all over, but I like it a lot. And I believe I got it off of Amazon, and it's like you get a giant bag that I will never use the whole thing. But that's the 2 kind of items I stuffed him with. I did a little bit of both, just so he had some weight, but also there was some of this just to make him a little bit more soft. And I don't know, like his little arms I think have the other stuffing. I really also real quickly want to recommend a couple of patterns if you want to do a cute stuffy. One I will recommend is Frog by Claire Garland. It doesn't have any clothes or anything. It's just a cute little frog, but you can add little wire inside the arms and the legs and kind of make him sit however you want, which is super fun. And the other stuffy that I've made that has been well received is the Beginner Bunny, also by Claire Garland. So those 2 other patterns are really, really nice, and I really think that anybody who gets them would be really excited. I sent a girlfriend one of the frogs by Claire Garland as a little present. Okay, so the next up, I want to share with you my Eva cardigan. This is, oh, bless you. This is a pattern by Petite Knit, and I am using yarn, Corey Worsted by La Bien Aimée in the colorway Coquicilot. And one of you guys kindly told me that that means poppy. So makes me kind of love the color a little bit more. I love the shoulder construction of this sweater. It is one of my favorites. It is the one that is used in her Lion Sweater Junior and regular patterns that I have knit a few times for my kids, and I just love it. So you cast on the back panel, then you cast on the front panels, then you pick up stitches around the shoulder, and I just absolutely love the fit of it. So I am knitting a size medium, and this, which is the size I always knit in all of her patterns, I always choose the same size. This is her champagne cardigan, and I believe the Eva cardigan will fit somewhat similarly to baggy oversized fit. Now this is a totally different construction. This one is a raglan style construction and has the V-neck. This one is a V-neck but has this different construction. So I am looking forward to this sweater so much. I have matching buttons. I feel like the more the sweater gets made, the more you can kind of see. That's always kind of nice. And I am still on the first skein. However, there's not a ton left of it. So I have been slowly working on this. I've of course been working on all of these other things, and it is coming along. I'm now about to focus more energy into this, and honestly, as soon as I can split for sleeves, it's going to be much more enjoyable to knit because I'm getting so many stitches on this that it's like that part of the sweater where I always like slow. I think I counted that I have like 14 more rows than I can split for sleeves or something like that, so I'm close. But it's just those last few rows, it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're still like going. So as soon as I can drop off some stitches for sleeves, then I'm going to be so excited to like get to the body and then get to the sleeves. But I have been enjoying, this color is beautiful. It's so much fun to knit. Has its own little like variations within it. It's really pretty. And I'm having so much fun. I really need another knitted cardigan because that's my only one. And I'm looking forward to something kind of bright because I do like to wear a lot of black, and a bright cardigan is really fun. I actually really enjoy wearing this one a lot. I always get compliments anytime I wear it. It's very like just cozy. It is a little bit thicker than this Eva one will be because I held mohair with a worsted weight yarn, and this one is just worsted weight on its own. I'm really excited. This is gonna also be lightweight. This yarn feels very lightweight. It's just so squishy and yummy. I'm really, really looking forward to this cardigan being done. I am really, like, I can imagine wearing it so many different ways. So it is something I want to kind of focus more of my energy on and just really just get it done, get it done. I'm hoping to have it done by the end of the year. That's kind of my goal right now. I would love it done sooner. So maybe now that I'm not getting distracted by every single thing, that will help. I will say, I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but I recovered the thing I sit on. It's like a day bed with pillows. And so I spent the last week doing some recovering of this. I've done a lot of like these random projects lately, just kind of trying to tie up loose ends and just kind of make spaces in my house feel more comfortable to me. And we still need to paint. I've started taping, but it's gonna be a while. I can tell it's not gonna get done probably until, I don't know, at least for a few weeks. So that's kind of where I'm at with like projects on projects on projects. And I get distracted. This cute little dog sweater, I really, really want to make another one. I would love to make him a red one. I don't think I have enough left over. I bet you I won't have enough left over of this, but I'm sure I have tons of yarn that he can have something really cute in. Let's do this first. I have been, look guys, we're getting closer. It's going somewhere. It's halfway on a row. So I've been bringing this everywhere I can think of, just to knit on a little bit here and there so I can get done. Again, I have like this much. I have like the same amount of the first skein left as I do on my sweater. But I'm gonna get it done. This is the half and half triangles wrap by Pearl Soho, or available on Pearl Soho. This is the color Super Orange. I'm gonna hold, I think it's called Bright Flamingo with it. It's another like a neon pink. It's really gonna be obnoxious, but it's nice for this winter gloomy weather. Today's a really sunny day, and so it's not as enticing to want to grab like crazy colors. Look at what I'm wearing. Okay. But I'm definitely have been enjoying knitting with color lately because it has been so gloomy. So it's been kind of nice. Speaking of knitting with color, I plan on making the 8-bit hat, a pattern by Jamie Lomack, for my husband. I have this Cascade 220 black for the main color. And then for the little Pac-Man, I have this neon yellow, which is by Blue Fiber. It's their cashmere sock blend. And it's like highlighter yellow, I think is the color for that. And then I have Teal Torch Knits. This is just a DK mini set that I bought at the Sacred Sheep Festival, and this is just called Dyer's Choice. And I have like a pink. There's no way I'm gonna hold all these without dropping. Well, yep, okay, a blue, a green, a purple, and an orange, because 2 of them just went flying across the floor. I cannot carry them, but there we go. So I plan on making the 8-bit hat for my husband with those, and I'm debating. He went nuts. I did not realize, because I guess I just didn't realize. We didn't do stockings for my kids before. So when I made these stockings, he has gone like crazy finding stocking stuffers, and he's like had so much joy around it, which is really nice to see. And so I want to make him a stocking, and I kind of don't want to make the same pattern again in the same way. I don't care if they're all like different stockings. I did my kids in kind of a traditional color so that hopefully it's kind of like an heirloom and they can do whatever they want with it. Maybe if they're older and they want something different, I can do that for them. But I just did like kind of traditional. But for my husband, I was thinking it would be fun to take the 8-bit doodle hat. I also have the cowl pattern. I don't think it matters. I think the charts are the same. Maybe they're a little bit different. But I have the hat and the cowl pattern, and I thought I could do a pattern mashup and use the holiday doodle stocking pattern as a base, and then use the colorwork motifs from the other 2 patterns as the colorwork for the stocking. I think it would work out just fine, because checking her colorwork patterns for the doodle pattern, for the stocking pattern and the hat pattern, the repeats are the same. So I can probably just easily intermix them, if you will. I thought it might be fun. Just something different, something that'll be fun for me to make. I don't know if I have enough time to do both the stocking and the hat though. But I did think that if I started with the hat, which is kind of not the right order, if he saw me making the hat, he might just tune it out if I start making the stocking, because it'll be similar looking. I don't know. Am I totally deranged? Also, we don't have to worry about him watching this and finding out, so it's just between us. But let me know your thoughts, or maybe I should just do something totally different. I don't know. I thought he might enjoy the Pac-Man motif for that. So I don't know. I really don't know if I have enough time to get it done. I guess I have 26 days to do both. So in theory, I probably could get it done. I don't know. You tell me what you think. You guys are always so brilliant in your advice, so I always appreciate it. The other thing, I think we are just about wrapping up. So lately, what I have been watching Lost for the second time. I think I'm on the last season, which makes me super sad. Because one, I remember the first time I watched it, it was like right around the writer's strike, and so things kind of are getting tied up faster than I want them to. I want it to like still be several seasons away. So that's been going on. I also I watched the movie Uglies after I listened to the book. The book is by Scott Westerfield, and the kind of premise of the movie and the book, although sometimes I like movies better because I can visually then see what was going on. But I feel like for this particular one, the movie going on in my head while I was reading the book was entirely better. They also left out a lot of details that I felt were kind of important, and several characters from the book to the movie. But it basically is exploring a society where kids, when they turn 16, and this is all in the kids' perspective, when they turn 16, they become beautiful. So they all have a surgery to make them quote unquote perfect. And then they go on living a life that the society has kind of chosen for them. So one of the characters then is kind of taken along this other journey, a hero's journey of like what happens in the end. So it's a good book. I enjoyed listening to it a lot. a lot better than watching the movie. Like, I started the movie and thought, oh, this is going to be a disappointment. Not because it's bad, but I waited to watch the movie, and I almost think that I could have watched the movie and still way enjoyed listening to the book, but it is what it is. And then we went and watched Moana 2 recently, and again, that's another one where I was like, it was good. It was good. I liked the first one better. I don't know. I feel like a lot of times I like the first one better, but it was good. It was nice. My kids absolutely are, like, Moana was favorite movie of all time for a very long time. And so seeing it with them was really fun because they were very excited about Moana. But for me personally, it was okay. It was okay. And then I've also been listening to Society of Lies. This is a book by Lauren Ling Brown. And this story is about a woman investigating her sister's mysterious death. The setting is at Princeton University and based on their secret societies. So it was a really good, if you're kind of into that like academia mystery novel situation, then it's great. And then I just got from the library it's called The Third Gilmore Girl, and it is written by Kelly Bishop, who was the grandmother. So if you're really into Gilmore Girls, I think you'll probably like this book, but it's by Kelly Bishop, who played the grandmother, who is personally one of my favorite characters. I really liked her kind of her snicketiness. Is that a word? I don't know. But I really liked her in the show, and so it was fun. Like, I'm really excited for this book. And then I really want to hear from you guys. So I am going to put together a newsletter / perhaps a video. So let me know your thoughts. I wanted to put together a gift guide, not necessarily for knitting, but for like other people in our lives that maybe we aren't going to knit for. So if that's something that's interesting to you, please let me know. And then second part, I wanted to ask you guys, who is the hardest person for you to shop for? And then I'm going to put a link below this video to sign up for a newsletter, and I will bare minimum email you guys some of my favorite gift giving ideas. And if you guys are interested, then I will also make a video to kind of show the item, because some of the things I've already purchased are things that I've bought for my family. But let me know if that is like, no, we get enough of that crap during the holidays. That's totally fine. I might make the video. You don't have to watch it. But you let me know if that's at all interesting to you, because we're knitters or crocheters or makers, and we're probably making a lot of gifts, but sometimes there's that one person that you want to like get something special for or something fun for, and you just run out of ideas. I feel like that with my husband a lot, is the hardest person for me to shop for. But let me know. Let me know if that is at all interesting to you, please. Thanks so much for spending time with me today. If we are not yet knitting besties, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, and please like this video. It tells YouTube that other fiber enthusiasts like yourself enjoy this type of content. Until next time, make some yarn magic.